Okay, let's take a look at one more menu on the X-Pro1, and that's the Q button, which is new for this model. And the Q button, if I go back to the shooting mode, the Q button is a quick access to some of the most commonly used settings, things like the ISO control. So you can use the directional pad to select what you want to change, and rotate using the command dial to change the various ISO, including auto ISO 3200. 800, 400, and whatnot. So the auto ISO is actually in the menu now. You can also change dynamic range by rotating, the white balance setting. You can also change the JPEG compression in terms of RAW. So again, you technically don't have to go in to the camera's menu system to change that. You now have that quick access button to change the most common features that affect your image quality. Again, tone highlights, shadow highlights, color, sharpness can be adjusted right here. And again, you can revert to 7 different custom settings that you can set up with different modes on each one, and so that you're ready to shoot in any scenario that you want to shoot with, which is I like actually. The command dial, of course, is also changed and no longer a flick left and right. So again, you get the function button on top. If I push that, you can sort of select the various ISO from that, as well as including the auto ISO options. Auto 32, 16, 800, and 400. So you don't actually go onto the menu now to enable the auto ISO, which is also a nice feature to have, and it's a new change. Again, customizing the function button just by holding the button for a few seconds, and it brings up the customization screen. You can change things like default it to different views like self-timer, movie modes, white balance. Very similar to that of the X100, of course, and of course create an instant RAW button on that if you want. And that means that the camera does have a built-in RAW converter, and you can use the in-camera RAW converter to convert your RAW files to JPEG if you prefer that. And of course, Fuji always is well known for JPEGs out of the camera, and so a lot of people just tend to shoot with JPEGs because we have such a great JPEG engine. This camera, if you look on the side of it, just to show you, you can see the speaker and the cap, but there's actually a PC sync connector right here as well. If I pull that out for you, as you can see, it allows you to connect directly to a studio lighting system, so that you don't have to put any special hot shoe adapter. I'm trying to leave that out for now. A little difficult to push back in. You do have the TTL flash that supports Fuji's 2 flash system. You got the EF42, you got the EF20. But also, there's actually, because this camera doesn't have a built-in flash, there is actually a specialized flash unit that's going to be made for the X-Pro1 that mimics the same look and quality of the X-Pro1 in terms of the dialing and flipping of the switch to adjust some of the controls. And it's a nice little piece. I don't have it here, unfortunately, because it's not ready yet. But we can take a look at a picture here of what it kind of looks like there. Okay, and so going through the control dials again. If you look at the shutter speeds on this camera, it goes up to 1/4000th of a second. There is a lock button now too, so on the A it doesn't move. If I push the lock button, I can actually rotate to the various shutter speeds, including the bulb mode. Again, sticking it to A. And of course, like I said, the aperture controls are done through the lens itself, and it's through 1/3 increments. So again, I can do aperture priority by taking it off A and setting that to A. And if I put this completely out, by pushing the lock button, I have full manual control on my camera. Very similar to that of the X100, of course. What I want to show you now is the viewfinder. First off, there is no diopter adjustment on this camera anymore due to design changes, because with a diopter adjustment and what we've done inside this special hybrid multi-viewfinder, in order to keep it somewhat compact, we couldn't do that. So what we've done is use the standard style of diopter adjustments by allowing you to unscrew this little piece and purchasing either a third-party corrector that you can put in, whether it could even be a lens, rubber lens cap, again, eyepiece, so that it's more comfortable for you. Okay, so that's a new addition and a new change to this camera. What I want to show you now, of course, is the multi-view hybrid viewfinder. So what I need to do is switch this mode so that it shows up always in the viewfinder. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. I just want to show you some of the information screen that's on this. I can push the display button. You got the customized mode here, and again back to that. I'm just going to show you again. A little hard to see, but there we go. That's sort of like the X100. And of course, if I flip the switch on the front, now I can switch it to the to the LCD view here. Let's see if I can show you that or anything. I'll play back an image. Maybe it's a little easier for you to see. So that's an image right there. I can navigate to another image that I shot in the studio there. I can say this camera has some amazing skin tones, just like the S5 Pro. In fact, there's actually a new film simulation mode that I want to show you right now. And it's, again, through the quick setting option during shooting. And again, let me just toggle back to that if I can. So I can push the Q button. And if I go to the film mode, you have, your standard, your Velvia, your sepia, and you now have actually pro negative film. You got MP, actually that's MPC, which is high contrast portrait in studio for somewhat flat lighting, and you also have an MPS type style film, which is what we call pro negative S and pro negative C for contrast. This is more soft lighting, studio lighting, where you have softer skin tones and ideal for that type of situation. And again, you go back to the Pro Negative H, and what that is higher contrast as well as higher vivid color, so that again, more even lighting in the studio. A lot of times, fashion photographers like it because it brings out the color and it brings out the detail because of the higher contrast and higher sharpness that's involved. So we've actually added 2 additional film simulation modes to mimic, those portrait studio style film. And that's a great addition, similar to the S5 Pro as well. If I just hold this button down, because it does automatically, I just want to show you the sliding lens magnifier. As you can see, that lens is slid out, and it has a wider magnification so that you can use sort of the wide angle lens. But when you stick in this lens here, the 35mm, f1.4 or the 60mm 2.4, it'll automatically switch the magnifier glass, as you can see, to higher magnification over 0.6 times. And so that when you look through the viewfinder, you're not looking through a large view with a tiny little AF screen. That AF screen gets magnified bigger because of that magnification glass. And this is why we call this the hybrid multi-viewfinder. So it's very, very unique. And in order to do that, of course, we place an LCD display or the hybrid LCD display on the bottom to shine up towards that and allow this area for the sliding lens that switches. So again, that's really cool to see. So holding that down, as you can see, it switches between different magnifications. And if I show you that on the back of the screen itself, might be a little hard, so I'll give that a try. Okay. So it's kind of hard to see. You have to really see this in person to see how the screen changes in terms of magnification. As you can see, I'll see if I can flip it around here and flip it out again. That's interesting. Again, it's automatically done for you, but you can manually set that. So that's just a quick look. I want to show you one last thing. I talked about this camera possibly having a development for an M-mount lens, and the way to work with those lenses, of course, is to you would have to obviously custom set the menu for that. And so if you go into the menu on this camera, you can see there's actually a setting for focal length settings. And by selecting that, we can change, and set up different lens, whether it's 21, 24, 28, and whatnot. And I can set up a lens here. I'll select that and do custom lens right here and change the focal range, whether I have a 200 millimeter lens that's attached to this camera. Again, it's customized. You got 2 different customized lens options and some standard lenses that we have set for this camera. So that's how you get away with not having the proper X-mount contacts for the Fujinon lens. So that's great to have. Again, here's just a quick look at the different menu systems, as you can see. I love this new tab, so it's much faster to get through some of the different options on this camera. Last thing I want to show you, of course, is the drive button here. By pushing the drive button, here you have quick access to things like the 5 frames per second shooting, up to 10 frames, 8 with RAW files. You got your auto bracketing, ISO bracketing, film simulation bracket, dynamic range, your motion panoramic 360, and also your HD video options as well. It's found on this menu. So that's great. Again, that's just a quick hands-on preview of the X-Pro1. Don't forget to tune in and follow us on our Fuji Guys channel for more information on this camera and other Fuji cameras, as well as follow me on Twitter so that I can answer some of your questions that you may have with the X-Pro1. Until then, I'm Billy, one of the Fuji Guys.